Welcome back to the potty where we talk about senseless shit. That's Jamie, I'm Bailey, and today we're going to be talking about what it's like working in the mines. It's fucking shit. It's horrible working in the mines. No, it's real, alright? It is horrible working in the mines. Now, to give you some insight, I think I worked in the mines for about 5-6 years. Yeah, I'd say about 5-6 years I worked in the mines. How long were you in the mines for?
About the same, 5 years.
About the same. So I started off as an apprentice. Obviously, everyone starts with an apprentice. But
I didn't.
Didn't you?
No, I didn't do a trade in the mines.
Anyway, I started off as an apprentice. I worked in town for about a year, I think. And then after that, my boss told me, how do you feel about working in the mines? And I thought to myself, well, this is a great opportunity to get your foot in the door because, as everyone in Australia knows, it's hard to get into the mines if you don't know someone. Now, he used to run the mines out there. Well, he didn't run the mines, but he ran...
a recruitment type.
No, it wasn't a recruitment. He ran part of the workshop, which I was eventually going to be going to. So, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much how I got in the mines. I done a year in the workshop. And then, yeah, got shipped out to do the dirty work.
Shipped out?
Yeah, got shipped out to do the dirty work and make a bunch load of money for my boss. But what I was told that, you're only going to do 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks turned into 4, 4 weeks turned into 6. Next thing you know, I've been there nearly 5 years. Yeah, I think that's about it from me. That's pretty much how I got introduced to the mining site. I'm not going to mention who I work for because they're a bit of a fucking dog cunts.
Which one, both or just the one?
I'd say both.
Well, I got into the mines not by being an apprentice. I literally just drew luck, like short straw type thing. I was working just normal. I was actually a traffic controller for a little bit and I've always wanted to get into the mine. So this is during, I think, just before COVID, I think it was, and yeah, just started applying for mines jobs as an operator on Seek and applied. I think I applied for about 50 jobs going all around Australia, and then I think maybe a month after I applied, I got a call to literally start at a mine site, North Queensland, and yeah, that was it. Done a medical, shipped out and flown out to North Queensland, and first time ever stepping in any machines. I started off in a dumpy, as what everyone usually does. It was a quarry that ran under a mine site, so we done all the, I guess building the roads towards the mine and train tracks and everything like that. A lot of road-based stuff and whatever. That was really cool. Yeah, I got in literally just by pure luck. And I never looked back for nearly 5 years as well, and I spent about 6 months in a Moxie and dump truck, and then moved up to loader operator, and I have been a loader operator since, still am now. Bit of excavation work too, which is really cool, but yeah. I didn't stay in the same mine. I think I spent about 6 to 8 months at that mine and moved on due to, which we will get in shortly, about how women are treated in the mines, being a male-dominant industry. Well, it was a lot more back then than it is now. And yeah, then I left that company and went to where Bailey was working. Basically smack bang in the middle of Australia, in red dirt, nothing around but dingoes, fucking snakes, sand, camels.
Yeah, camels, free camels. I remember one of our trucks hit a camel.
Well, I remember one of the truck drivers, I think, hit like a whole fucking group of them.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
With
the blue.
Oh no, he's
that one.
Yeah.
No, he's the one who hit. I think there was like 9 camels. Mind you, it's a 40-kilometre length road. 40 k's, wasn't it? About 40 k's long.
No, it was about 60 k's.
well, 40, 60 Ks.
Something like that.
And, you know, you're doing 100 to 110.
Oh, when the truck's fully loaded, they'll be doing about 80, maybe 70.
So, yeah.
And you see, this is where the experience comes from, right? Now, she's a loader operator, I'm a diesel mechanic, so...
He knows all the ins and outs of that kind of stuff. Okay, so yeah. I mean, these trucks were loaded up to nearly 200 to 220 tonne with 3 trailers. Doing 80 Ks, and it was a 24/7 mine site, that one, and sometimes you could see absolutely nothing, and then sometimes you could see everything, just depending on what time of day or night you're in. And yeah, one of the fellas literally just out of nowhere, all these fucking camels just ran onto the road, and he just plowed them all. It was pretty fucking sad, and yeah, it was nothing we could really do about it. But that happens out there, like even with dingoes and stuff. They just run out on the road, like everyone knows to honk, 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 honk to try and scare them off the road, but sometimes you just can't do anything about that, eh?
Yeah.
Can really be pretty hectic out there.
Can be. I mean, working in the mine site, you know, it's not for everyone. I mean...
You'd have a thick skull,
I haven't worked with people that have come and left, per se. Like, we'd have new people come through that want to be a mechanic, you know, trying to get their foot in the door, never been in mining. And I'm not going to lie, the mining industry, the site that we worked at, the conditions were absolutely horrible. I mean, we were averaging 38, 40 fucking degree weather nearly every week. If it wasn't that, then it was pouring down rain. And if it wasn't that, you had to deal with the flies.
Dry season.
But yeah, we've definitely had some people that have got off the plane, saw the site, and got straight back on the plane, yeah. But, you know, I've met a lot of good people out there, I've met a lot of shit cunts out there, and if I was to put mining in one word, it would be somewhere along the lines of, it's a fucking gossip. Everyone just gossips. You know, you got the underground drillers, there's the truck drivers, there's the plant operators, there's the diesel mechanics, there's Sodexo, which aren't Sodexo anymore because they lost their contract. But, you know, everyone's just at it. You know, it's we're better than you, we're better than you.
That's what I was going to say. My one word would be just competition.
Yeah.
Because it's always between, so if you're an underground miner, you're better than surface miners.
Yeah.
But then if you work in the mill where the main fucking shit is processed and developed, then you're better than everyone else. But then you've got the medics on site, and because they're these fucking gods, they're better than everyone else. It's like everyone doesn't realise out there that every single job that is on that mine site
is just as important
is extremely important as one another, and without any of them, or without one of them, it doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. So, like, little miners, if you want to get in there, just remember you're no fucking better than anybody else out there. You are literally a product and a number of that company. You are literally just the next employee number with that ass in the fucking seat or that spanner in your fucking hand. Like, you are part of their production to make profit for themselves, not you.
But actually, that's a really good way to put it, is if you're, you know, a low tier worker or a grunt, or someone that just go fix this truck and you go fix it, I would say it's like a corrupt system.
Yeah. Not
a corrupt system, but, you know, there's a chain of command, and, you know, the diesel fitter, right, it's got no responsibility at all. I mean, you fuck up, you get a written warning, but not only does the diesel fitter get a written warning, the leading hand gets a talking to, you know, because I'll get into that later, but as a leading hand, you know, you've got to control your crew. You've got to control safety. You've got to control JHAs. You've got to control what your crew's doing. Is everyone following the rules? But then there's that fine line between having the respect of your crew and being a boss instead of a leader. And I think there's a lot of bosses out there and not enough leaders. I mean, it's easy for someone in an air-conned office on $86 an hour saying, we need more tons. Do this, do that. But if we don't got the trucks, we can't get the tons. If we can't get the tons, we don't get the bonus. If we don't get the bonus, then the boss loses his shit. If the boss loses his shit, then his boss loses his shit. It's all about P&L, profit and loss, you know? And in the mining industry, that's a big thing, is profit and loss. That's all they care about. How much production can they make? How much money can they make? How much money have they spent? And, you know, if you're a low-level worker, you don't got to worry about any of that shit. So if you just want to get in there, fix trucks, keep your head down, do exactly what I did, you'll probably find it pretty fun. And I'm not trying to say that don't work in the mining industry. I'm just trying to say make out what you can from it.
Yeah, and I also think with what you're saying, like with the bosses, how it's all about the profit and loss. They always say that they know, they've been in our shoes. Most of them fucking haven't. They've always sat behind a desk. But they don't see the grunt of the actual work that needs to be done to get them their profit. They don't see the factors that happen that fuck up during a day shift or a night shift that can happen that gets them the loss, and they don't understand the whys like that it happens. And like there's always that rule, the 5 whys, and it relates back to basically you say incidents happen, then you say why did that happen and why did that happen and why did it happen, you get back to the root cause. A lot of bosses don't see that and don't run like that, and they just think, oh, this guy fucked up. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Let's send him on a fucking flight home because he's now fired because he just literally fucking, lost us millions of dollars. When in fact, a lot of it isn't human error. A lot of it is production error. But it is blamed on human error because humans have to do it to make the production. It's a very confusing situation, but when you're in the grunt of the work, you see a lot more of the broad spectrum than what I think the bosses in general see. And
in the mining industry, someone always has to take the blame.
Oh yeah.
So
always.
And whenever there's an incident, like a major incident, then there's they call it an investigation. So they shut down that site, or not the whole site, they shut down where the incident happened, then they do their investigation, they check everyone's take files, which I think are absolutely fucking bullshit.
They're useless.
I mean, take files...
I used to write the same ones every single day.
So did I. If you don't know what take files are, you got to identify, we had to identify 3 hazards...
Of the job that you're doing.
And write 3 safety measures to control that hazard. Now... I understand that where they're coming from. It gets the brain thinking, you're fixing a truck, but you got to raise it. What's a hazard? I can name one right there. Unsuspended load or suspended load. The safety control would be correctly rated jack stands. I mean, I understand it gets you thinking about the job, but a piece of paper is not going to save your fucking life.
No.
If anything, you're thinking about the job beforehand anyway. It's just a piece of paper that they can put the blame on,
Yeah, and I also think because we will go into how safety has improved, which I think has improved quite a bit, but like Bailey said, like pieces of paper ain't going to save you. It's the thought behind the action, and if you don't think before you do, we're going to blame a piece of paper for it.
Yeah, realistically, it's common sense.
100%.
And your gut tells you straight away. So one thing I got told when I was working in the mining industry is if you're doing a job and you think it's unsafe, then it's unsafe. And I think that's the easiest way to put it. I mean, if you think it's unsafe...
I was just thinking of a lot of things, like even when I worked in... Well, I think you were out at this point and I was still there, and I walked into the workshop. They were doing one of the trailers, like had a hole in it, so they were re-welding it and everything like that. And there was this big fucking safety thing that happened at this time. And when safety things happen, we've got to amp up the safety 100%, but then like 2 weeks later it just drops off again. And I walked into the workshop, I remember, the side of the trailer was down, like the door bit, it was down, and like when you're inside the trailer, you're not going to fucking fall anywhere, like it is fucking huge, And the next shift had come on and they were taking over from that job, and then the next day we all came back on and they had welded...
when they fucking welded the gates across the trailer? Fucking dumb
guards on there because it was a safety issue. And then our shift just took them off anyway because it was the dumbest thing, because we weren't... not we, but the person who was welding it wasn't even near the edge of the trailer. It was actually right at the back. And it was so dumb. Just stupid shit like that. Like, why? Like, and that just fucks up time and production, basically. So it's just something as small as that, like having to weld gates on, which would have taken like a good hour with how big the trailer was. That's an hour wasted. That's $1 million, hypothetically, lost in profit. Just stupid shit like that. But safety,
Safety
is a joke. Is a joke.
It is a bit of a joke, but it is our number one priority. There's no job too safe that you can't do, or some bullshit
as they
like
say.
that.
So the rule is safety is number 1, but the joke is safety is actually number 3, because production always becomes before safety, no matter what anybody says, because if production's not there, we don't have jobs. So if we did everything purely by safety regulation, there is no fucking way that anybody would nothing would get done at all. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Like, it's corrupt in that sense.
And to broaden your mind on something like that, I'll give you a situation, right? So we had an old fella, he'd worked at the mine for about 27 plus years, a very highly respected man, you know, I miss him, you know, I used to talk to him all the time. He took a fall from, I think it was 3.6 metres?
Yeah.
3.6 metres, broke a couple of ribs, you know, no one found him.
He'd actually started in the mines in 1994. That's how long. And he unfortunately had to end his career in the mines about a year and a half ago now. It was.
But yeah, anyway, he took a great fall, broke a couple of ribs. No one found him until about 20 minutes later because
it was night shift. It was coming to the end of the night.
It was night shift, and you're supposed to have your two-way on you when you exit the cab when you're doing the job he was doing, but I don't think he had it on him.
He either didn't have it or it fell away from him after he fell and he couldn't get it.
But anyway, a big investigation happened, and long story short, no one was allowed to work at heights unless there was a JHA. And if you don't know what a JHA is, it's a job hazard analysis.
Yeah, and everything's got to be signed off by management.
Yeah.
And
so it's a great big thing, and because every job you do as a diesel fitter can potentially be classed as working at heights, because it used to be falling from a height of over some couple meters.
I'm not sure. Maybe I think it was like 1.8 or something. It was the size of a standard door.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it was falling from that height to a different height, and then now it's been changed to where there's potential to fall from one platform to another. Now, realistically speaking, if I climbed a fence and I'm on top of that fence and I fall on the ground, that's classed as working at heights. If I stand on a chair, it's classed as working at heights. So we were at a time where we needed a bunch of shit repaired, but we couldn't do it because we needed a JHA, and we're not filling out a JHA for standing on a fucking step to fix a bulb, alright? So my crew, which I don't think the managers even know about this, so yeah, if they do watch this, oh well, I'm not there anymore. But our crew took it upon ourselves to not do anything unless we had the proper paperwork put in place, and that lasted about 3 weeks, I think. Not even that, I think it lasted a swing, which was 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
And yeah, we wouldn't get on a step, we wouldn't get on a ladder. And then our manager would come out and be like, what the fuck are you doing? And we were like, it's working at heights, you need to get us a JHA. But I mean, that's just some of the things to expect about working in the mining industry, you know. You've got to be on par with your safety, you've got to work long hours. I mean, generally most hours are 12-hour shifts,
yeah? Usually, yeah.
Usually 6 to 6, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I know some people do it earlier, some people start later. What else? I mean, you're spending, depending on what swing you're on, we were on a 2-in-1 roster. So you're spending a week away from your family.
We're spending 2 weeks away from our family.
A month, yeah, but...
Yeah, so if you would put it in month terms, we would only be at home for 1 week out of every month. That's how it worked out.
Yeah. If you're a person that values money over family, then good on you. You know, I'm not going to judge you for who you are.
Well, I wouldn't say value family over money, because when my perspective of getting into the mines was purely... Well, there was a personal reason.
You were motivated by money, weren't you?
No.
Well,
I was motivated by
an incentive.
I was motivated by an abusive relationship at the time. So that motivated me a lot because I just wanted to get away. But I had no commitments. I lived in a state away from my family anyway. I literally had no family there. I saw it as a good opportunity to basically make something of my time while I had really nothing that I had going for me. So that's my perspective. Like, I had no commitments. The only commitments I had were my 2 dogs, which I knew they were safe when I was away anyway, because you know, I always came back to them. But yeah, the money, definitely 100%. Money was amazing, but yeah,
the money is good, but you got to sacrifice a lot.
You do have to sacrifice a lot. Like I sacrifice a lot of just free time, but as I said, my perspective, that didn't bother me as much, because when I come home, I had all I did while I was away was pay for rent. That's it.
Pay for rent?
I literally paid for rent. That was it.
Yeah.
I come home and I would have, a good amount of money, and I bought myself basically a brand new car, all these little things that I wanted. I went and got I went and travelled a little bit as well.
I would put it.
So I think it's the person's perspective and where where they're at in life to how they see it.
Yeah, that's true though.
Because I know you're more family orientated than what I was, 100%. But so you would see it as that value, whereas I don't see it like
I wouldn't
that.
back then. I didn't really have a family. I just had my old man, but he was always away anyway. So for me, working in the mines was just like working around the road. There were times you get massive FOMO. When you're pretty young.
Yeah.
I was 18 when I first started going to the mines, so I was missing out on a lot of going out partying with my friends. Going to festivals, concerts, and stuff like that. And honestly, I should have saved my money.
Oh, I just saved my money too.
I've got nothing to show for it after being 5
Either
years
of us
in the
have
mines
nothing
now.
to show for it. You do get swept up in that concept of, holy shit, look at my bank account.
You start living the high life.
You do. You live the high life, and then, when the time comes around when I was kind of forced a little bit to get out. I fell pregnant. I do not regret that one bit. I wouldn't change it for the world. But when I stepped out of the mines and, I didn't work for 10 months or so, I literally was like, fuck. The amount of money I could have saved, and we could have been in a different situation and could have been doing different things and stuff like that when I stepped out. You really kind of regret a lot of the shit that you did do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of shit that I did do, I just wanted to do it, and I had a lot of fun. So it's you're at a very fine line with it, and I think my advice to anyone who gets into the mines: have some fun, but fucking save as well. Definitely save, because you're not going to be in it forever. Something unexpected could happen.
Yeah. You get fired, you get blacklisted, literally anything can happen, someone could pass and you'd have to go home, but I mean, that's just mining, Everyone talks shit about each other, all the crews hate each other, you work long hours, you got to wake up at 4:30am and you wake up, the sun's down, you go home, the sun's going down. So yeah, it's definitely not for everyone, but if we can hack it, I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that can.
Yeah. I would definitely say, if you are family orientated, say, for example, myself and Bailey, we've had obviously a baby. He was in the mines for 10 months after she was born. The first couple of months was good. It was easy. I didn't have the feeling that I needed Bailey around, because I could just handle a baby who literally just done this every day and slept. But then, she started developing in new ways where, she started sitting up, she started crawling, and I didn't have the support that I needed, and I needed someone to help me out. And that's when I started seeing, oh shit, I can't do this. I could have done it on my own, but I'm not a single mum. I had a partner, and my perspective was that I needed Bailey around. And also, I guess in your perspective, a little way would be that he was missing out on a lot of her first things, like her first crawling, her first words, even walking kind of thing. It was always, she knew him over a phone, and when he came home, it was like she didn't know who he was. It was very detached. And I don't recommend anyone with families, even if, I say up to 5 years old of their children, I wouldn't even step into the mines, because there's multiple reasons. Obviously, family's a big one. Camp is not innocent. There is a lot of married men and married women out there who, and I'm not going to say all of them, but a lot of them that I did know were not fucking loyal to their partners at home to their families, and it's pretty disgusting to know that from what I've seen, if Bailey went back to the mines, even though I trust him with that 100%, you'd still ponder in the back of my mind, because even if you would say, I'd never cheat on my wife and everything, the temptation that someone else can give off and persuade a person's mind is fucking ridiculous, because you're out there for 2 weeks, and I think every adult really knows when they're around multiple different men and women, attractions happen, temptations happen, there's drinking on site as well, and silly things occur, and it can destroy lives. Absolutely destroy lives. Like there was, I'm not going to say any name, we're not going to say any names or anything, but a girl was out there, she actually got fired because she rooted so many fucking people. She rooted people on her own crew, and that caused commotions between the crew. She rooted, basically, say there was a fella and then he had a best friend. She rooted both of them, like went to one room, then just went to the next room. And then all these rumors just circulated, and she became so hated, even by like just staff members she became hated by. And I mean, what's the point of it? I mean, okay, you go out there to root, you destroy people's fucking lives and their family. And, you know, people talk, and especially certain mines, there's a lot of people that come from the same area as their home. And word gets around when hometowns, you know, and wives find out, husbands find out, then that's it. Your life's fucking over. So if you've got a family, you guys need to trust each other above and beyond, and at least go when your kids are at the stage where when you come home, they know who you are. Because otherwise it really hurts I think the wholesome part of the family and being one. As, you know, especially us being a new family, it was very important to me because I had a very up and down upbringing, pretty broken and whatever. So that having that wholesome part as being a one solid family was extremely important to me. And honestly, I don't think it would have really worked out between me and Bailey that well if one of us was still in the mines, because it's the effect that it has on our daughter, and the mindset, I reckon, it can be very tough. So that's it's a bit of a long perspective, but it's said in a good way, because coming from us, we know hands down what happens in the mines, and we were pretty single most of the time. Well, some of the time, I guess, in the mines. And, you know, we both, what they say, had some camp cake.
They call it a camp life.
Yeah. And, I mean, everyone sort of dips their finger into something, and, yeah, but like, you know, there are males and females that we have both worked with that, you know, together, that absolutely adore their home life and would not do anything. They wouldn't even stare at someone or look at someone the wrong way to jeopardize what they have, you know. So that's what I mean by, like, if you need to trust each other 100% and beyond to really be able to be okay with your partners going to the mines.
You talked about what it was like when you were joining the mines.
Yeah.
As a woman. Well, let's talk about that. What it's like for a woman to be in a male-dominant industry.
It can be.
So how were you treated?
When I first, when I first joined, the first maybe 2 months, I was treated like gold because I was brand new. I had no knowledge of anything, so it was like, yes, this is my blank canvas. I was a blank canvas to this crew. So they were like, everybody wants to put their 2 cents in of their knowledge to teach you something, which I absolutely thank everybody who I've worked with for that. But then you develop, once that 2 cents, everyone's 2 cents put in, you develop your own sort of, I guess, set of skills with how you manage your day-to-day life. And if it's not agreed upon by others, then they start, I don't think seeing you as a threat, but it's like seeing as, look at me as like, oh, she's too good for us now. Like, oh, she thinks she knows, but she's got no idea. But like, it was hard because I was still learning at the time, and
So you couldn't really say anything? Or
I couldn't say much at all. Like, I could be myself, but when it came to the job or learning or whatever, I had to shut up and bite my tongue.
Because you know nothing.
Because I know nothing. But, I mean, I'm a cluey person. Like, driving a truck is literally driving. Like, it is fucking drive, reverse, park.
And dump.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's certain things like with a Moxie, you can't tip on a certain angle because you just fucking roll the tub over, and you know, in driving conditions. But it's based on fucking common sense, and I got that straight away. Whereas a lot of people was like, oh, she's got no idea. I fucking knew, and they just treated me like I was dumb. And if I had an opinion or you know, or whatever, people would look down on me for it. It come to the point where I noticed the diversion in the crew where people would be like, instead of helping me, they'd look down on me and undermine me. And then it would start a lot of hate towards me. I was actually the only woman on this site. Out of all crews, I was the only girl. And I don't mind because I'm a blokes person. I hang out with more guys than I do women, but when they just pick on you because
it would just turn into bullying. Yeah,
it literally turned into I was harassed by certain people of other crews. I was harassed. I was called a prostitute on night shift. I was I wouldn't say I was physically sexually harassed, but in a way where I guess you'd look at me like you just wanted to take my clothes off kind of thing, but in a very creepy fucking manner. That I was basically told I was no good. We had old souls in the company that had actually disagreed with women working in the industry altogether, and he treated me like a fucking peasant. Like, everything I done was wrong. He would yell at me. We almost had a head-on fucking collision, me and this guy, toe-to-toe, fucking fists and all. It got to the point where I couldn't even talk to the manager of the site because I was looked down upon because I was new. Like, I knew nothing. So experience outweighed non-experience. And rather than taking it upon themselves to help, you know, have a solution, I was the bad person in the end. And nothing I said helped. So I literally just said, fuck you. So I did a whole HR complaint and whatever else, and to be honest, it sent the big bosses to the site. And we had to have like a little chitty chat with the big bosses on site, and they asked me about it and whatever, and I told them, and it was pretty unacceptable. So there was a lot of bullying stuff, you know, said to make sure that doesn't happen again and whatever. And to be honest, it didn't stop. It didn't stop at all. Like, even bus rides home to camp, we'd all take turns in playing music, and I love everything between metal, country, opera, fucking whatever. But I knew this one guy always bullied me in and out, day in and out. And I knew he hated country. He despised country. So I would put on the worst possible country music, and it was nearly an hour trip home. And he would fucking lose it in the back of the bus. And every time he said a word, I just turn it up, like, just to give him a bite of his own medicine, you know. And if you don't do that, you're not gonna last out there. But yeah, I dealt with a lot and ended up leaving that company because, like, the abuse mentally was hard to deal with, because I'd go home to an abusive relationship as well. So it was like, fuck this. So I ended up knowing a person who I did work with. He went on to another mine site, which is the same one that Bailey was on, and ended up getting a job there. And I learnt from that company that I needed a fucking thick skin, like true thick skin, and to not back down, and to be myself, just to fucking bite back.
So basically, as a female working in a male-dominant industry, you need thick skin?
100%.
Yeah.
100. I haven't been in it for nearly, a year, nearly 2 years now, so I don't know how much the dynamics changed.
I don't think it had changed much, to be honest.
Well, like, you've got to go in there and stand your ground straight away. You get walked over, you'll get walked over for the rest of the time that you're there. When I went into this company, the new one, I stood my ground. I told him what I wanted, what I did, and how I wanted to be treated. And it was, I wouldn't say smooth sailing, but 90% of the time I was with this company was smooth sailing. We had some people on there who tried to sexually get into my brain. I had people on there who tried to blame things on me. I had a supervisor that we ended up having nearly an hour fucking screaming match at 2 a.m. on night shift about something that I didn't do. And I got picked on a lot. So it is hard because you do, and especially my experience grew pretty good, and I became quite a good operator. And hands down, I'm not going to just say that to give myself a big head, but I'm pretty fucking skilled at my job. And a lot of people who've been in that industry for quite some time, they did see that as a threat and then treated me like shit and then tried to make up little nicky-nacky things to the supervisor to get me fired. And that happened multiple times actually. And another one happened like that with another woman that worked there. And she was brand new to the industry and she tried to get me fucking fired because, I don't know, I guess I'm a threat. I was a threat. And then I was just like, you know what, fuck yous all. I'm going to literally tell you how it is and I'm going to be brutally fucking savage to you until you understand that I'm literally doing nothing but my job.
I think that's what most people go into the mines and do. They go into the mines, try to go above and beyond.
Sound daughter.
Try to go above and beyond when realistically all you got to do is go to the mines, do your work and keep your head down, you know. You can make a couple of friends here and there, but you know, I'm not saying mining is bad. Like there are good things about it.
Oh, I mean, 100%.
The wage is good. You make really good friends. You know, you gain experience. What else? That's it.
I think they're the main factors. Yeah. The good thing is as well is you save a lot of money because you don't spend anything while you're away. You get free accommodation. You're fed. You're looked after. You have medics there that are attending if need be. You learn a lot about you push out of your comfort zone, that's for sure. And you learn a lot about all different things that you never thought. Like, you know, I honestly didn't even realise this until I worked into the mines, but we dig up the ground and provide the world its materials.
We do. We were at it was just purely gold. We were at a gold mine site. So, you know, I don't know what percentage of the world needs gold. You know, it's in your phones now. I mean, it's in computers. It's in everything. It's in jewelry.
Yeah, everything. It's in fucking nail polish. Like
a lot of electrical components use gold, you know, and we contribute to that. So I mean, there's a big factor if you enjoy mining.
Yeah, and you just don't understand what the mining business is, I reckon, until you're in it.
Yeah.
And it is a big important part of our ecosystem. Not ecosystem.
No, I wouldn't say ecosystem because that's.
What's the word? Like it's a big important part of our world. Like, and the materials we need. Yeah. Basically to build, and without them I don't think we'd have half the stuff that we would these days.
Yeah, and another thing too about mine, there's a lot of diversity in cultures out there, you know? I mean, I've worked with people from Ireland, I've worked with Australians. I mean, Australians are probably the number one nationality in mining, but you know, there's Irish people, there's Filipinos, there's people from Thailand, there's people from back home in New Zealand. Yeah, they come from everywhere.
I reckon also a pretty cool thing is that when you're in a mine, like certain companies, especially the one we were in, they actually worked all over the world. They had mine sites all over the world. So, you know, for God's sake, like Egypt, you could go to an Egypt mine and work out there.
Actually, yeah, we had a auto sparker that worked in what's that, UAE? United States? United States?
I have no idea what you're saying.
Where all the rich fucking Arabs are. Dubai.
Oh, Dubai.
He worked in Dubai for 2 years, you know, and if you pick the right, I shouldn't say if you pick the right mine site, if you pick the right company, you know, some companies are international. You know, there's one company, Maida, for example, you know, they got work in Canada. I'm pretty sure they got some work in Thailand. I'm not
They've
sure.
got it everywhere, and
everywhere.
I think that's a really good benefit with working with certain mine companies, is that you get to travel the world.
You do, and it's all paid for.
Yeah, most of it's paid for, and it's different money as well. Everywhere you go, it's all different money, and the experience is different. The cultures are different. Like, God, imagine working in fucking Egypt and experiencing their culture. Like, our culture on our mine site, we were a private mine site because it was Aboriginal land. It was sacred land. So we actually, everything that the mine done had to be by permission. I guess like one thing you got to worry about is your life in a mine. There is still deaths every year, and I think goes back to, doesn't matter how much safety is improved over time, there's always still going to be a death. And if you aren't vigilant, careful and aware of your surroundings, probably sure enough something bad's going to happen. Like, reportedly last year there was 11 deaths alone just in Australia, and then 2023 there was only 6 reported, but it fluctuates so much. Like, there's been years where something has happened, like a tunnel's collapsed in a mine and hundreds of people have died, but then the following year there's only been 3 deaths. So I think the mindset of going into a mine as well is being aware that something can happen, and it's not a playground to just fuck around. Like, you need to always be, I need to come home to my family. We do have some people who've actually shared some stories and experience that we're going to talk about. So I've got one here. I'm just going to read off this one. One of our mates, he sent in some good words about his experience. He's worked in a couple different mines, and this is basically what he had to say. Throughout my experiences in mining, I have developed a deep understanding of the industry's complexities and challenges while interacting with a diverse range of individuals from various backgrounds and life journeys. Working in various roles, I have been involved in both surface and underground operations, where I gain hands-on experience with advanced mining technologies and safety protocols. That's pretty good. My responsibilities included conducting geological surveys, operating heavy machines, and ensuring compliance with environmental regulations. Collaborating with colleagues from different cultures and experiences has enriched my perspective and fostered a strong sense of the community within the workforce. Together, we optimised production processes, and improved efficiency, all while prioritising the health and safety of our team. This multi-faced exposure has not only enhanced my technical skills, but has also instilled in me a strong commitment to sustainable practices within the mining sector, making me appreciate the unique contribution each person brings in the industry.
That's a pretty great paragraph to sum up mining, really.
Yeah, that's actually really good. Really good. We do have another one. From an old mate in the mine that we worked in. He gave us very short, quick, simple, but his experience, I think this is quite funny. My experience has been fairly good over the time, as long as I can remember. Just remember to stock up on Imodium tablets for when the camp food goes straight through you, which can happen. Yeah, so we got one from an old boilermaker that we used to work with, and he basically just says he's almost 60 years old and he's been in FIFO mining for many years, and he'll probably never retire at it. Mining is definitely something I never wanted to do. Life just seemed to steer me in that direction. It's something I had to do for my wife and kids at the time. I learned to like the mining scene. It seemed to harden you. I've become determined, almost OCD, I can relate to that, with very hard work ethic. Having said that, if I could have my time over, I would definitely find another way. I have missed so many precious times through the years with my beautiful kids and my wife, not to mention pressure on our marriage at times. Don't get me wrong, mining can be very rewarding, dynamic and exciting, and for some, a financial godsend. Mining has been good for us, but for me, at a far greater cost than monetary terms, time you'll never make up for. And that's, I think, fucking very well said in the fact of having a family and going into the mines. So that's coming from someone who's been in the mines for, like, he's 60. He'd been in the mines for about 30 plus years. I've got one sent in as well. She wrote, I went into FIFO as a newbie, didn't know what to expect. It took me 6 months to really become accustomed to it with the routine and the Groundhog Day feeling. Now, I would say I've become institutionalized to it and struggled with being in the city. If you can get